Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees all things new. My name is Jennifer Nuya, streaming from Cavite, Philippines, and you're watching Stories from the Fringe, Season 1, Episode 14. For those who are tuning for the first time, Stories from the Fringe aims to push for more diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in all aspects of our lives. We are committed to creating a world where individual differences like gender, class, ability, among others, are not only seen and accepted but also empowered and celebrated. And we believe that we can all be a part of this collective vision. We have here, of course, a special guest for our last episode, and I encourage you that to make your most of your time together with us, to turn off all distractions and prepare to make notes, mental and be fully immersed and engaged with our guest. Welcome to the show, Toni Miranda.
Morning, everyone. Thank you, Jen, for inviting me to your show, and good morning to all of our listeners.
Mhm. Thank you, Tony, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us and our viewers in Stories from the Fringe. Now, can you please share a brief background about you and the work that you do?
I am an image consultant, so I help clients future-proof themselves. How do we future-proof themselves? By rediscovering themselves. I help them with their branding as well as the plans that they want to do to identify their vision and other plans for their group and their company. I am also a global speaker, Jen. That's why my advocacy is to bring the content that I have discovered myself because I was able to apply them, which is how to become an influential leader. So I talk about that not only in the Philippines, but also nationwide. And we also bring that as a ministry in our church. We also help as a life coach in our Glorious Hope ministry.
Mhm. Thank you for that. So, our goal now is to share how to be a radiant influencer in unprecedented times. Now, for the appreciation of our viewers, how is a radiant influencer similar or different from the common definition of influencer that we use today?
It's actually the same, but on a higher level.
Mhm.
An influencer is someone who is happy with what they use, happy with what they receive as a service. Then they talk about it, either through a story, through a platform. Now, a radiant influencer is not just happy with the products or services that they are endorsing or at least sharing with other people. They are also happy with themselves, joyful with a joyful heart. They are happy with the source of their confidence, and they have a compelling vision. That's why you now radiate from inside out. You alone is already the influencer even without the product or services that you are endorsing. So I believe that's the similarity, and then towards the end the radiance factor is the difference from a
Mhm.
regular influencer.
Mhm. Are there any special competencies or skills needed to be a radiant influencer?
Competency, it will follow, but we need to begin first with a foundation.
Mhm.
Foundation is about you. You are the influencer. You need to be influenced by yourself, right, Jen? Because if you don't believe in yourself, how can you believe in a certain content that you are sharing with others? Competency will follow in the middle. Actually, we have a structure and system. Can I share with you, Jen, and
Yes,
our
please.
viewers? We call it the three I, so it's easier to remember. Inspiring self, inspiring others, and inspiring legacy. So the
Mhm.
inspiring self sometimes are being skipped because people are, busy or probably excited to achieve the competency, which is actually the part two, inspiring others. However, many companies and even organizations noticed that during the pandemic or these uncertainties, those competencies were shaken. Some people or some leaders are no longer believing in their capacity. Some are already doubting if they can still move on or not. So I realized the foundation is not really taken into consideration when it comes to training our leaders, when it comes to our professional growth or personal development. That's why I try to study also further, aside from my own experience, what will make an influencer become radiant out of inspiring themselves. And that is actually knowing who you are and whose you are. Both who.
All right. So that's the first step. So how about inspiring others?
So once you know who you are is understanding your authenticity, because sometimes we're not aware that we are already a different person. So once you know who you are, or discovering your real talents, what else? Discover your, well, not discover, at least create a vision, and it is anchored to understanding to whom do you belong, whose you are, who is
Mhm,
God Almighty, something that you begin to embrace that is eternal, because the who you are, it can also be defined by the world. It can be defined by somebody else when it comes to self-worth. It can be defined by a book that you follow that created the who you are. But the identity is critical in addressing the second, the inspiring others.
mhm,
Once you are aligned, or we call it unison, with the persona or the design of how God designed us. Probably, let's say the influencer is a mom.
mhm,
Once that mother, or momshi as we call here, understands who she is, that she has a purpose, she has a unique talent, and that her source of confidence is not on the items that were also shaken during the pandemic, that her confidence is not based on her previous credentials and achievement. Once we understand whose we are, who owns us, who gives us everything, the provision, the confidence, then we receive that certain extraordinary confidence to face now the challenges, because challenges are inevitable. We don't give up anymore on the phase two, or we call it stage two, which is the inspiring others. Because lately, I'm sure even me, and I'm sure also you, Jen, there is this moment that I want to stop for a while. I want to just rest. We have that moment, right? It's okay, because we actually need that. We actually need that. But to give up on who we are, the
mhm,
talent that we have, and the purpose that was impressed in our heart is something that we need to address in stage two. What is stage two? Inspiring others is no longer about us. Sometimes we inspire others for personal gain, for us to have following, for us to build that different tips that we heard about social media marketing. So
mhm,
the inspiring others is still self-service, or self-serving.
mhm,
Now, once you are inspired with yourself and you understand our identity in Christ, and your view of life is wider and farther than what we see, the problem, my credential, what have I lost during pandemic? I don't have anymore those attention. I
mhm,
maybe my popularity went down already because of pandemic. It's shallow, or it's so narrow. But once your foundation is anchored to, oh, I have a purpose, and even without trying anything, I already have a talent. I
mhm,
just need to hone. So that's stage two. You just need to hone it.
mhm,
It's not coming from zero, making the most of what you have. So your contentment now improves. Example,
mhm,
I'll give you an example. Image. So now we see image I'm an image consultant. We see image as a competency. How can it be a competency? Because it affects relationship, it affects service, and even your influence. So now that we understand that we don't need to alter any part of our body, because we already have something as image, we just need to improve it. Like hairstyle, the right hairstyle. And like yours, I love it when you really love your curls. It's natural. You don't force
thank you.
to straighten it. And we just need to learn what's the right lipstick, what's the right shape of everything. Can I put accessories with this color, and so on? And it adds up to our confidence. Speaking, I believe speaking is not a skill; it's a system. We have it already. We have a message. We just need to know a system,
Mhm.
the intro, the time, the timing, the tips on how to end it. It's a system really that we can practice and develop. So with that too, you are already a radiant influencer. It's
Mhm.
just that we need the third formula, or we call it the third stage to consider. So now the first is about who you are and whose you are. The second is about them and never about us. So it now we need to incorporate why you are doing it. Why do you need to have good habits so that you will practice what you need to practice? Or why do you need to at least upgrade yourself, enroll in professional growth, or attend trainings and even seminars where we can, hear speakers that can teach us how to transcend or how to apply that concept in during these times that everything is uncertain. When we are able to apply Gen both, I am okay with myself, inspiring self. I don't doubt regardless of what I hear from others. And this is this factor that I will mention is something that will make you assess, am I inspired with myself? Is if you're open to feedback. Open to
Mhm.
feedback. Because if you are inspired with yourself, you now see feedback as care and love of others for you to, change what you need to change or improve what you need to improve. Because the formulation or the combination of the inspiring self, and then there's excitement rather than fear of inspiring others. Especially for us, we're both speakers. Sometimes we're nervous because
Mhm.
it's fear instead of excitement. But if it's excitement because you know that the audience needs to hear you, you know that the audience needs to hear the system or the solution that you have to, or that you will tell them or give them as a lesson, there's excitement. It now goes beyond um, fidgeting, sweating, because your thinking is now helping. And the third is inspiring legacy. Actually, there's no formula there, Jen. The result of you being inspired with yourself, you're already radiating. Even if you're not on TV, even if you're taking care of your kids, they are the ones you are inspiring. So you are a radiant influencer mom, a radiant influencer wife, or a radiant influencer, probably sister. It's so difficult to influence others, let's say as a profession, when you know at home they're not inspired by you, right? That's the reality that is actually happening to most influencers. They are
Mhm.
using the external or the outside world to fit in because they cannot influence their family members. But there's a chance we can just ask our source, Lord, can you help me at least be a good influencer or the radiant influencer at home so that the inspiring legacy will now be experienced or can we can gain it. It's really not the items or the things or the numbers of, let's say, number of credentials, certificate, awards. It's, I think all of our listeners will agree, it's the moment we spent with them, the legacy that they remember.
Mhm.
So there, actually it's funny sometimes uh, when my kids are joking around, mom, when, well, we're talking about that, sorry if I mentioned that, because it's reality that we see around too. And they said, mom, we'll make sure that you have good posture and then that you look good, make sure you assign already clothes that is right for your body shape. I said, okay, so that's what you're what you're thinking rather than what message do we want to send out to friends. But you see, because I think that's one of the legacy that I'm leaving, the image that it's a message. Our image is a
Mhm.
message, and it can help enhance how you want to radiate and communicate
Mhm.
with other people.
So you're the image consultants of your clients, and you have your children as your image consultant also.
Yes, and as well as critic, no? Because in Zoom, we only see this part, right? And then
Yes.
afterwards, "Oh, what happened, mom? What happened? We'll take a picture, blooper picture. I said, it's okay. For the meantime, let me wear my slippers. Yeah, and it's fun because they see consistency. They see focus
Mm,
and consistent. Because if it's just only me, Jen, um,
mm,
I don't like to fix my hair. It's okay. I don't mind if there's, anything here or if my background is messy. If it's
mm,
for me, I can always boast. I don't mind. I already have 21,000 followers on FB. But it's no
mm,
longer about me. Let's say, it's about a teenager wanting to see a good sample. It's modeling to
mm,
corporate people, to parents, and even to children that
mm,
the image is a message. Even
mm,
without speaking,
mm,
the image sends out a message. So when you enter the room, it's how you enter it. Your appearance, the way you smile, your eye contact. It's the first message they receive. And that's my advocacy. While image is on stage two, which is executive presence, body language, communication skills, we need to also address our internal image. Do you really see yourself as beautiful? Do you see
mm,
yourself as unique? Otherwise, every day is a burden. Why do I need
mm,
to have good grooming? And I always teach because the grooming sends out a message. If you cannot take care of your grooming, from nails to simple, hygiene, brushing your teeth. How can you even tell your clients that you can take care of them? But deep inside you, you cannot take care of yourself. You're not sleeping well. You're not
mm,
eating the right food. So it's really a unison from it's a consistency of the inside. I believe in myself because I know God created me unique. I have a talent. So if I hear somebody would tell me, you did not even reach this part, or you don't have enough certification or international
mm,
certification, at least you know that before you even get them, you are already special. You have a content, you have a story. And that
mm,
is enough. The confidence there is enough, and it will eventually eradicate the fear.
mm,
Some are not influencers by
mm,
choice, because all of
mm,
us, I believe, are influencers. But some, they choose not to be because they succumb to that. I'm not enough. What else? I'm
mm,
not ready. What
mm,
else? They wait for the state of perfection. But
mm,
it's never about perfection. It's about
mm,
your story. And I
mm,
really love your stories from the fringe. See, it's unique. It's unique to you, and it's attached to you, your personal brand. Before, we don't have personal brand, but now that's the talk of the town, personal brand. But in
mm,
short, it's just about you. You are the brand. Our listeners are the brand. You are an influencer, and choose not to be away or to be detached from your calling. We always focus on the flaw, but
mm,
it's always about from flawed to called, because in reality, we are called to do something.
mm,
Nothing is by accident, today,
mm,
and even our previous experiences. It's part of you. It's part of your story, and it's part of your content. That's why everyone is an influencer. Make the most
mm,
out of your social media. If we can endorse, let's say, items or products that made us happy, why not endorse you?
mm,
You are a product, right? We are the product. We can, what's our product? Our faith, our story, the vision that we have, the things that maybe can make a difference. But once you entertain, I'm just this person. How can I be heard? And those are doubts. Doubts never came from God. Fear never came from God. God is always excited to use you. So let's just be excited also. And that will really just make others notice it naturally. You don't even have to say, hey, I'm dating. No, they will just notice it naturally. Yeah, what's the local term that they use? Hey, blooming ka ha? That's what they say, di ba? When you're not.
mm,
But that's dating, blooming ka. And the words will now be different. You will receive the words differently when you see yourself the way how God wants you to see yourself. Example, usong-uso to pag nakita sa reunion diyan. Oh,
yeah.
you've gained weight. 'Di ba? So, the way you see yourself will the way you see that word or you receive that word, you've gained weight. Even if the one your best friend probably is smiling in a loving way, oh, you've gained weight. Maybe they mean, oh, you look
Mm.
healthier now. But if you have been bullying yourself for months, for years, definitely you will receive that. So, so you're the only sexy and I'm gained weight, di ba? What are you trying to say? You will receive it negatively, right?
Yeah.
But if you see that as a person who cares that when you see everything as positivity, and we all
Mm.
know naman that sometimes we're not eating well, sometimes we're not sleeping the right number of hours. That's why, and it adds up to weight, and we know that. So we can just say, yeah, lately, and I'm actually trying to do something about it because I know I need to be healthy. And at least it's a reminder and you thank them. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. I need that. I need you to
Mm.
remind me. Then
Yep.
it's a happy conversation. Then you
Mm.
relate. Rather than sometimes it's like this. The the inauthentic response.
Mm.
Okay, I heard you. Oh, did I offend you? No, you did not. You did not, okay. But deep inside, you're already doing that to her. And what's happening here? It's for her. Maybe she can just move on and she's still happy. But you're already bullying yourself. You're already harboring that anger towards her, and so on. And it will now consume your day. Sayang.
Uh-huh.
Sayang, di
Uh-huh.
ba? For that moment na maybe you could have, exchanged some inspiring stories with each other. But just because you said, I'm okay, but actually I
Mhm.
have another thing to do, so I have to go. Right? So, and that was me before. That's why I can really express it really from the heart. That's how I was
Uh-huh.
before. You can
Mhm.
really see my eyebrow telling you get lost, right? Get lost.
Mhm.
But I realized I'm wasting time as well because I'm not here to be angry. I'm not here to, withhold forgiveness. I'm here to be excited to share my message and this formula, the I,
Mhm.
inspiring self, others, and legacy to other people, especially
Mhm.
during these extraordinary times. That's why I'm excited. I believe whoever is listening to us,
Mhm.
that fire will be awakened. Oh yes, I'm an influencer, but don't forget, you are a radiant, or you can be a radiant influencer. Just
Mhm.
transcend, rise above whatever is happening, and no one can do that for you, right? No one can do
Mhm.
that for Jen and me. Everyone, let's transcend. It's a
Mhm.
choice, and it makes everything exciting.
It is, and I'm so inspired right now, so fired up, and I'm sure that our viewers are also. Thank you so much for sharing all these nuggets of wisdom. And before we will go for a short break, and before we go for a short break, later we will discuss more about having that purpose, and then also having a consistent internal and external image, and perhaps we can touch a little something about combating imposter syndrome, or
Yes. Mm.
probably silencing that inner critic. I'm sure that, like me, there are also some people who might be listening out there who are also suffering from time to time, not always, from from the noise of that inner critic. So
Okay.
direct Hershey. TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as seen on screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our vision is to become a global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Thank you so much, dear viewers, for supporting Stories from the Fringe. We are live streamed every Thursday, 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Philippine Standard Time. You can also watch the replay via IG, Facebook, or YouTube. Also listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search hashtag TNC now. For strategic brand partnerships, please email now at thenewchannel.com or send us a direct message. Enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them just for you. So if you haven't made your Christmas wish list, or you are still planning to buy gifts or prepare that Christmas wish list for your family, friends, I encourage you to hop on to Private Pop Avenue PH at IG. They have a lot of Filipino turtle that come in popping colors and also unique accessories that you will not find anywhere. How many days do we have before Christmas? If I'm not mistaken, it's 44 days. Wow, how time flies. So 44 days before Christmas. Thank you, everyone. So you're watching Stories from the Fringe, and we have on our show today Toni Miranda. She has been helping our viewers. She has been giving gems on what radiant influence is. So can we call back Toni Miranda? Hi, Toni. So before we
Hello.
left for the short break, we were talking about imposter syndrome. Now, if you will allow me, I'd like to share this one. It's this one instance where I felt that inner critic. So I attended this one big event. It's in a beautiful place, and there were many business leaders in their own respective fields gathered there. So I was star struck. So the luminaries were there, and I really didn't know how to carry myself, because I felt, even if I was already considered myself as a leader myself, I felt that I was nothing compared to them, or I was just half of what they were. And so we were seated around this round table, and there were a lot of utensils, cutlery. And even if I'm aware that you have to work your way in, sometimes if
Right.
you're not really familiar with it and you don't do it every day, you tend to forget it. So
Mm-mm.
I was so afraid to pick up the
Which one? Yeah. Which one
the
comes first,
utensils,
right?
because I didn't want to make a fool of myself. So
That's
I
true.
grew hungry because I pretended I was not so hungry at all.
Just to slow it down and give time for you to think which one comes first. They look the same, right? I can, yeah, I understand because even before I teach, we call it dining etiquette. That's the same experience, and I'm happy that I had those experience that you had also. To the point that maybe it's okay if I can pass on. Just to graduate, I even made created a term just to graduate from this super fine dining. And
Mhm.
I realized that even that it's a learning, no? The
Mhm.
dining etiquette. The once we know, maybe not just etiquette. Once we know, it also adds up to our confidence, right?
Mhm.
Example, we get to review. We get to review the difference, let's say, of the different courses, which one is informal, formal. It's just there, and then it's like a checklist done. Your confidence level increases.
Mhm.
Your being radiant influencer is beginning to be better. Now let's say the body language, the
Mhm.
difference of this one and this one, and this one. So once you know the difference, another check,
Mhm.
because knowledge adds up to our confidence. That's why I'm excited when you mentioned about imposter syndrome. I said,
Mhm.
wow, I love that. I love that topic because when I learned that there's another
Mhm.
system, not even a tip, there's another system that we can apply to help us manage, because imposter syndrome is like in speaking, nervousness cannot be eradicated, but we can manage. As
Mhm.
same with this one. So when I learned it, the system, and applied it, I'm actually enjoying the experience of having that small or little Tony inside, or the little critic that we have inside. So I'm sure all of you can relate. Let's begin, Jen. I only have like maybe four or five system that we can do. So it will hit you anytime imposter syndrome doesn't choose a timing or even
Mhm.
anyone. Even those who call themselves really confident, or they have been doing this again and again, they have bouts of this,
Mhm.
especially during idleness, when they're idle. Then especially when some social media comment would it's not something that they expect. So first is we need to recognize where the doubt is coming from. Sometimes the doubt is not coming from inside out. Imposter syndrome is always external, outside in.
Mhm.
That's why earlier I mentioned it's very important that inside is at peace. You're in unison, or um, it's aligned. No, it's aligned to how you are designed. It's aligned to the identity,
Mhm.
defined by God, not by others. So once it's aligned, even if someone will tell you, "Oh, you cannot. You're a radiant influencer." Well, it's just a title, whatever title is, and you cannot even speak straight English in 30 minutes, and then you know
Mm.
inside, so that will now hit the rejection issue, the pleasing people issue, the the different piece, popularity, and so on. So if that is how your inner self is defined, it will break you.
Mhm.
It will break you because for you, you work hard practicing speaking, you work hard, maybe hiring different speech coaches, English
Mhm.
teachers, and so on. But recognize first.
Mhm.
First, no one is perfect. We
Mhm.
just have different, probably, skill level when it comes to speaking. Maybe not all of us have English as our primary language, and I can relate to that.
Mhm.
I used to call it, I'm not good in English. I realized I just have to recognize it first, and
Mhm.
then practice, learn.
Mhm.
Because if you don't know where you are now, if you are not even accepting and recognizing where the doubt is coming from, you also don't know where to start when it comes
Mhm.
to personal development, professional development, and so on. So understand, maybe the doubt is coming from deep seated pain, where you heard repetitive words from someone older than you, could be your parents, could be classmates and teachers telling you you're not enough, and so on. And it's not really the external current words that you heard, maybe through a chat. It's not that one that is causing the imposter syndrome. It's the emotional pain that you remembered, that you
Mhm.
felt long time, that you have buried already. And it will
Mhm.
now result to doubt, because it affirms the same doubt you had when you experienced that pain. Example, the doubt is, I will never be enough. Simple,
Mhm.
but painful, right?
Mhm.
Because it can be a vow that you keep on already defining yourself. I will never be enough, even if actually you are enough. So
Mhm.
there, recognize where the doubts are coming from. It's not, sometimes we get angry at the person who we thought caused that, or a certain comment, whom we
Mhm.
thought is the source of the doubt. But check, maybe it was just a trigger to a long time pain that has caused you to doubt yourself. So that's the
Mhm.
number one. If you won't be able to recognize, it's just brushing it off. I'll be okay. I'll be
Mhm.
okay. But you're not okay. You're not okay. You're hurt.
Mhm.
You don't want to go out again. You canceled everything. You don't want to book speaking engagements again. Or if you're an employee, it's okay. Whatever you like, just do it. I'm just an employee anyway. So you repeat the same words, that because words are strong. They are double-edged
Yes.
sword. So sometimes we don't know Even our own words are already the little critic.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, someday, someday when I become a leader, you are a leader now, so why say someday?
Mm-hmm.
Or we call it in Tagalog, sana or kapag. Yan. Sana
Sana all.
what else? What else? Maybe about financial. If something happens, what do we usually say? Lagi na lang. I'm always not able. But is it really? Or maybe you can just say, this due date, I missed it. I was not
Mm-hmm.
able to pay it. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
lagi na lang. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
it's always, it's not always. So that's first. Next is acknowledge, remember the inspiring self, acknowledge that before we even try to equip ourselves in stage two, which is competencies, soft skills, technical skills, we already have something. When we were born, we already have something. What's that? Your unique talent and strength.
Mm-hmm.
We have it. If you can see or maybe search, that's why this platform called Gallup Strength Finder is now beginning to be some well, not famous. I want to call it important,
Mm-hmm.
vital to, especially for leaders, so that they know what really are my talents and strengths, so that I will hone it rather than have difficulty addressing my weakness. So
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge your own talent and strengths, and stop bullying yourself for an activity or maybe a skill that is not your talent. If it's not your talent, it's really difficult. Example, I always demonstrate it in, when you write your name with the dominant hand. Example,
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm right hand. How about you, Jen? Left hand
Lefty.
or right? Also, you're left. So all of you, we can all try this logic that I will just share. When we write it with our dominant hand, we can maybe write more than 10, 20 in a minute because it's easy. It's your strength using your dominant hand. And try to do it with your left. Aside from the, muscle pain, it irritates you. It's heavy. And the output probably is one or two. What
Mm-hmm.
else? The output of, the quality of the font, how you wrote it is not good. Then you blame yourself. That's the
Mm-hmm.
impact if you're not acknowledging your strength and talent. Just focus on your strength, deliver what you need to deliver as a radiant influencer using your strength. For an event, let's say your strength is really more on speaking, and one of the strength is to attract the audience, but you cannot do the event organizing because that's not your strength. That's a time we can be humble. Who can help me with this? Because this is not really something that I'm good at. The thing is, most people won't reach that number two. The acknowledge your strength and talent. Why? We we're not humble. We're proud. We can do it all person.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
control things. We're not humble enough to ask help. So there,
Mm-hmm.
first, check where the doubt is coming from. Second is acknowledge your own talents and strengths. So you know when to ask help, you know who to collaborate with.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we feel heavy and give up, not knowing that it's just not your talent, not your strength. Then number three, the moment you begin to be aware that, oh no, I'm bullying myself. Acknowledge it because there's really no inner voice. It's you. It's you.
Mm-hmm.
Remember what you have accomplished. That's number three in the system. Remember, you were able to accomplish something, and then be happy, be thankful with it. The attitude of gratitude every day, journaling it will adjust your level of contentment. So when you're not able to accomplish something at the moment, you will just say, okay, I'll try again. That's it. Rather than the never, never again and the always, I'm always a failure. I will never be enough. Just try
Mm-hmm.
again because the failure or not hitting the mark, it's part of the journey. So remember your accomplishment and check maybe what I have done something like this already. What did I miss? And then try again.
Mm-hmm.
Always rebound, or we call it not bounce forward, not bounce back, but bounce forward. Because rather than bouncing back, it's more of recalling what you have done already and then move
Mm-hmm.
forward, bounce forward. Next is we're on the fourth already. So after you have recognized where the doubt is coming from, It was a trigger to a previous pain, and okay, I can do it. I know it's just a trigger. So you will
Mm,
not even argue with that person who caused the pain, or even the inner self. Sometimes we argue with ourselves without you knowing it. And then next is to, acknowledge your talent, review your previous achievement and accomplishment. Now, never say no. Accept new challenges. That will make you grow.
mhm,
Otherwise, it's another imposter syndrome whenever you say, I'm okay. I'm okay means you want to stay in your comfort zone. I'm okay means you want to stay safe
mm,
because everything you want to control, everything you want to be calculated risk. But when you accept the challenge, you now open the door for God to help you get through. That's where faith comes in. And it's part of our foundation. Remember the
mm,
inspiring self. Trusting God that when you do your part, He will do His part. Trusting God that He will use the talent that He has given you. So now, accept your challenge excitingly, not fearfully. Always be excited. That's the antidote, or that's how you can eradicate fear. So when someone tells you, example, you're not hosting, or probably you're not whatever activity that you've never done, you can simply tell that person who invited you, I've never done it, but if you can guide me, I'm willing to do it. See how
mhm,
wonderful you embrace challenge, and it will eventually, and not eventually, it will totally eradicate the
mhm,
imposter syndrome, because it's a choice to to take care of it, right? To take care of it, stay there, don't leave me behind, or rather move out, because I'm willing to accept new challenge.
mhm,
Challenges only look like a challenge when you don't know, when you are not familiar with it,
mhm,
when it is not according to the way you want to, you way think, the way you want things to happen, and when it's not according to your timing. So it
mhm,
appears to be challenge. Example, collection. If it's not according to your timing of collection, then it's a challenge. Sickness, if it's not according to your schedule, you have an
mhm,
activity set already, then it's a
mhm,
challenge because you have a deadline. So challenges is just not aligned to
mhm,
your defined timing. What else?
mhm,
Defined way, system, and the way you want to please yourself as well. So
mhm,
that's fourth. Kayang-kaya, di ba? Manageable, it can be applied. Just remember. Last, get validation from the right source.
mhm,
That's sometimes we reach up to number four, and we drop the number five, because sometimes the number four makes us feel good already. I mean, the four systems makes
mhm,
us feel good already, and some go getter tayo, quick ano, once we're okay, 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 go, go, go na. We forget that what can sustain us? What can sustain us? We need validation from the right source.
mhm,
It's more than the right source that we can talk to, or who we can talk to, or who we can hear. And again, I'm referring to God. Every day, if you just at least spend more time with Him, seek Him first, and everything else will be given unto you, including your confidence.
mhm,
Quiet time. It reminds
mhm,
you of who you are, and it reminds you of whose you are. And we see a lot of nice validation. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Right? I love you. You are special. And I will be your strength in your weakness. Our friends can also say the same
mhm,
validation. It's just that you are just both human, so you are both imperfect. Anytime you will irritate each other because we experience different things. But when you anchor on, or at least get your source of validation to God, who is above all our imperfection,
mhm,
all above our mood,
mhm,
because sometimes your source of validation is not in the mood to even say something that will make you feel good, right? But at least this one, the Bible, the Word, your quiet
mhm,
time, your time with God, it's anytime available. So there you
mhm,
go. We have five tips, and I'm sure it will help you. It will help
mhm,
me, and even those who will watch the replay,
mhm,
because it is something that is within our control. It is something that
mhm.
is within our control. and
Mhm.
then you will radiate. You will become
Yes.
a radiant influencer.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Tony. I'm sure that our viewers are writing down notes, taking down notes. Those are really beautiful gems to live by. Thank you for highlighting that growth comes outside of our comfort zone. And I would also like to add to what you said, that God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. So if you, whoever you are, who are watching right now, if you still feel that you are not enough, that you are not good, so we hope that you now understand your value as a person in God's eyes, as a child of God. And if, for example, Peter, Paul, the disciples of olden times, they were fishermen. Not many of them are educated by modern day standards, but they, because of the fervor that they had, the dedication, and because they knew that they had a message that they had to share to the world, and they had a mission, a burning purpose, right? So see how Christianity has now enveloped the whole world. So Christianity is one of the major religions in the world. Thank you so much, Tony, for spending your time with us, with our viewers. Thank you for the generosity of your talent and your knowledge. I personally learned a lot. So I would like to ask, how can our viewers continue to connect with you, connect and learn about the work that you do?
Okay, so you can actually follow me, all my social media accounts from Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn at Toni Miranda PH, and also follow our business account, Radiance Image. And you can subscribe. You can subscribe and avail my free book. So maybe we can put it here in our comment section later. Once you subscribe there, you will be receiving also 5 secrets to influential leadership. And Jen, may I also personally invite them because there's an upcoming event that can definitely help them become a radiant influencer, because our theme for this event is to transcend. And
Yes,
we have
please.
invited different, now we're adding additional international speakers. So these are no less than presidents from the different speaking associations in different countries. So we will also put the link in our, probably later I'll put here in the comment section. It's happening on December 1. It's 1 to 5 p.m. and it's all worth your investment because each speaker will share their expertise for years. For how many years? We when you search the speakers that you will see in the page of the invite, you will see that they are mentors already of different speakers, leaders, and corporate companies who get them for trainings. And for the affordable amount that we will ask from you, it's actually more than what you will be getting, more than the investment. Why? Because
Mhm.
these are 6 to 7 speakers with different topics, but focus on how you can transcend during these uncertainties or the new era. So
Mhm.
there. Thank you so much, Jen, for inviting me, and thank you, TNC, too.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Tony. It has been a very enlightening discussion.